This changes everything for the Rangers. New York has a golden opportunity to trade another long-time tenured Ranger and set themselves up to compete not only this upcoming season, but for many more years to come. And the potential of this first line moving forward is absolutely ridiculous. Welcome back to Rangers Digest. I am your host, Bret Botfeld, and it's great to be back with you guys on this beautiful Tuesday. And before I break down a few transactions that the New York Rangers can make to change the fortune of this franchise moving forward, a quick reminder that about 74% of you that currently watch these videos are unsubscribed, so please hit that free subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And guys, let's hop right into the video. The reports have been coming out hot and heavy here the last few days, and Sunday night, a report from Arthur Staple came out that Chris Drury and the Rangers, along with Mika Zibanejad and his camp, may have already decided that it's best for both parties to move on, just like the Rangers did with Chris Kreider on Thursday. And guys, that was a bombshell. But then just yesterday, on Monday, a report from the New York Post came out, and Mika Zibanejad's wife was talking about the new home that they bought in New York City. And not only that, but that the Rangers flew Mike Sullivan out to talk to Mika Zibanejad in Sweden about how they can help him for this upcoming season. So we've had some conflicting reports here over the last few days, but there is one thing to bank on, and I always take this to the bank, folks. When it comes to Chris Drury, you can't rule anything out. And where there's smoke, there is certainly fire. And we heard some reports about the Rangers looking to move Mika. Obviously, they would have to convince him to move and remove that no trade clause that he has. But like I said, when it comes to Chris Drury, anything is possible. And you'd be foolish to think that a Mika Zibanejad trade is off the table, because I certainly believe that it is 50-50 at this point. It can certainly go either way. So let's talk about Martin Necas, guys. Martin Necas is a guy that I brought up on Sunday in a video because let's get one thing straight. I said that I wanted Martin Necas, but it is on one condition. If the Rangers move Mika Zibanejad, if Mika is still on this team, I do not move mountains to bring in Martin Necas. I just don't do that. But I am talking from a perspective, if the Rangers were to move on from Mika. Let's get into a report right here, guys. After a disappointing season that saw the New York Rangers fall from President's Trophy winners to playoff spectators, GM Chris Drury is working the phones. Guys, this is a report from NHLTradeRumors.com, and the report goes on to say, with limited cap space and eyes on the stacked 2026 free agent class, which I've alluded to so often here on the channel, New York is expected to be aggressive on the trade market this summer. According to Vincent Mercogliano, the Blue Shirts are looking for upgrades at center, right wing, and left-handed defense, ideally players who bring youth, speed, and snarl to a stale roster. That was said so beautifully right there. And then the last part of this report. Here are 5 players reportedly on Drury's radar as the team gears up for a critical offseason. And guys, I want to highlight critical offseason. While this is critical because the moves have to be extremely smart from Chris Drury, because as alluded to in this article previously, next offseason is absolutely filled with studs, with stars, with guys who can change your franchise. Let's move along. Martin Necas is one of those 5 targets according to Vince Mercogliano, and this was something that he wrote just before the Rangers traded Chris Kreider. He says, the 26-year-old speedster flourished last season with 83 points and remains one of the league's most dynamic skaters. However, reports suggest he wasn't thrilled with his stint in Colorado, and the cap-strapped Avalanche may be forced to move him. Guys, they only have $1.2 million available. That is extremely key in this video right here. $1.2 million in cap space. Please keep this in mind as we move along here in the video. Necas would instantly upgrade New York's pace and creativity on the wing, but fitting in his $6.5 million cap hit might require moving a big contract like Chris Kreider's to make it work. Check. The Rangers have already done that. Like I said, this report came out just before the news broke on Thursday night that the Rangers were trading Chris Kreider. Let's move along right here. Here is a quote from the premium NHL insider Elliotte Friedman on his 32 Thoughts podcast. He said, when the whole Necas stuff had been going on, there was a lot of talk about Necas for Nikolai Ehlers, but the Winnipeg Jets didn't believe that they were going to get a commitment from Necas long term, so they ultimately didn't make that deal. Guys, that is extremely key. Like I said, I only bring in Necas if the Rangers move Mika, but not only that, the Rangers need a commitment. They need a commitment from Necas that he would want to remain on Broadway and that he would be open, not only open, but he would be set on playing right wing for the Rangers and when they need him to, center. I know his preference is center, but this last season was his best season in the NHL and he played on the first line right wing and he was surrounded by very good players like a Nathan McKinnon, like a Cale Makar, and he showed that if he's in the right situation, he can certainly handle that first line right wing. And like I said, if you need him to play center, he will do that. He is a versatile player here, guys. Let's move along. New York Rangers cap situation. Guys, the Rangers have nearly $15 million to play with this offseason. And if the Rangers were to move Mika Zibanejad, and like I said, Mika Zibanejad, he is not worth this contract, guys. Let's just be blunt about it. He has many years left on his deal at $8.5 million. You're telling me that Mika Zibanejad is an $8.5 million player? Not only that, but he's your third line center making $8.5 million? It is bad business, and I have said this in many videos. The Rangers can't expect to compete and win a Stanley Cup operating like this, paying a third line center nearly $9 million. You can't do that, folks. You cannot do that. So the Rangers, if they were to move Mika, they'd have nearly $23.5 million to play with this offseason. And look at next offseason, guys. Look at next offseason. That is such a crucial offseason. There are so many stars on the market, and the Rangers are going to have nearly $45 million in cap space to play with. If they were to move Mika, that would put them well over $50 million. You're talking about you can bring in a few star players here, guys, a few young star players, and I understand the Rangers would still have to fill about 10 roster spots, but you can certainly fit with over $50 million two Tier 1 players on this team surrounded by a lot of good depth. The Rangers would have the cap space to make that happen. So if they were to bring in Necas, who's going to be making Chris Kreider's money this season, the exact same $6.5 million, they'd cancel each other out. He is due for a raise next offseason, guys. Things are cloudy in Colorado between him and the Avalanche. He rejected a long-term contract extension at $9.5 million a year, so you have to expect that he's going to want about $10 million AAV. $10 million. So if the Rangers were to move Mika, bring in Necas, they'd still have so much money to play with next offseason, and they'd still have enough money to play with this offseason, guys. This is so key. And now what I'm about to bring up here is also extremely important because I keep talking about next offseason. And this is a tweet from Elliotte Friedman. This is a tweet that has major implications on next offseason, guys. Look at what he said here just late last night. My eyes are on Vegas when it comes to Mitch Marner. That is huge breaking news here, folks. Mitch Marner is expected to command over $14 million, guys. That is no chump change. $14 million. There was already a report last night that Carolina may go over $14 million to bring Marner in. and Carolina could afford that. This is going to be a bidding war. And if Vegas is the favorites to sign Marner, like Elliot Friedman has said, this is huge and has huge implications on the Rangers. I'm going to get into that in just a second. Elliot Friedman goes on to say, teams believe that Marner may now pursue a shorter-term contract, something in the 3 to 4 year range, instead of the full 7-year deal most expected. The logic is financial and based on the NHL salary cap, which is projected to rise steeply in the next several years. It allows for bigger contracts each passing season. And guys, if the Vegas Golden Knights were to sign Mitch Marner, just take a look at their cap situation, guys. Just take a look at it. Mitch Marner may potentially handicap the Vegas Golden Knights and will certainly take them out of the running to retain Jack Eichel next offseason, guys. Jack Eichel is a tier 1 player. When it comes to next year's free agency, he is the second best available player on the market behind Connor McDavid. He is a franchise-altering, changing player. He is a Stanley Cup champion. And guys, I understand Vegas will have $32 million available to them next offseason. It looks like a lot of money on the surface, doesn't it? But they have to fill at least 10 roster spots next offseason as well. And not only that, if they sign Mitch Marner to $15 million a year, and that leaves them with just about $17 million to play with, do you really believe that they're going to sign Jack Eichel as well when they have so many other places to fill voids? Do you really believe that? Because Jack Eichel is going to be coming off a $10 million AAV contract. He will certainly get a raise in the $11 million range. It just wouldn't make sense for Vegas to bring in Mitch Marner and still be able to retain Jack Eichel with 10 more roster spots to fill out. Guys, this is extremely crucial. Moving forward here, let's take a look at this Puckpedia Rangers depth chart. Just imagine, because Artemi Panarin will be a free agent next offseason as well. I don't see the Rangers bringing him back, especially with the players that they'll have available to them next offseason. Imagine this. Martin Necas as your right wing, Jack Eichel as your center, and JT Miller, who is versatile, who can play left wing. I understand he's a center, but he has a lot of time and a lot of experience at left wing. Imagine that first line. JT Miller, Jack Eichel, Martin Necas. Just look at it in comparison to this first line, guys. That is a dynamic, explosive first line. Not only do you have youth on that first line, you have experience. You have a Stanley Cup champion on that first line. You have elite speed from Martin Necas and Jack Eichel. You have JT Miller, who plays with a pace, a physicality, a guy that can also bury the puck in the net. I mean, JT Miller, the way he controls the puck, with the way Jack Eichel moves up and down the ice, creates for his teammates, and this is a guy with an elite wrist shot, an elite one-timer on the power play, a pure goal scorer to go along with his playmaking, and you pair him with Martin Necas, a guy that could go north to south like no other. Like I mentioned, elite speed. Looks like a gazelle going up and down the ice. The way he has continued to improve offensively, his wrist shot has gotten pretty damn good. He can certainly put the puck in the net with the best of them. And like I said, this is a 26-year-old that when he was put in the right position on the first line at right wing, he thrived. He had his best NHL season. I mean, this line would be absolutely dynamic, guys. This is a team that would be able to compete for at least the next 5 seasons, guys. But I'm fascinated to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think about that potential first line? Because the Rangers would certainly be able to make that happen with the cap space situation if they play it correctly. What do you think about that? Jack Eichel, Martin Necas, and JT Miller. So make sure you leave your comments down below. But But that's going to do it here today on Rangers Digest. And once again, if you haven't hit that free subscribe button, hit that button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.